Who's ready for Christmas? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Maggie and I are excited to share with you our 12 days of holiday layouts this year for 2025. And they start today. I'm super excited to share this one with you. This is one that you could put in a quilting series. It's part of my quilting series, I guess, but it also kind of overlaps into the holidays. So this one should be super fun to put together and a really fun addition to your holiday album. So I hope that this will work out as something that you'll enjoy putting together. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. So this is my workspace for today, and I'm super excited to bring you a layout using these cute elf legs and feet. Similar to the witchy boots and witchy legs, we've got now our cute elf booties, and I'm excited that this one's going to go super fun. So I have, as far as papers go, I pulled some papers from an older collection. This is from Joy to the World, and I've got 2 striped papers, kind of the teal green and the red, and then we're going to use this red with a little bit of a chevron in it for the pattern for the boots, for the feet. And then the base pages, we're going to do 2 pages today, not just one. The base pages are going to be this kind of polka dot speckled gold, which has the gold stripe on the back. So if you're familiar with Joy to the World, then you will recognize those papers. All right, and our finished layout is going to turn out, I think, will turn out like this, with one boot heading to the left and one boot heading to the right. Excuse me. So that's the goal anyway. So let's look at our papers and cut some paper. Let's cut some paper. Let's play with some paper for a minute, okay? So I have this sticker sheet out. Also, this is from the one with the nutcrackers, you'll remember. Christmas Cheer was the name of this collection. And I have this one out because we're going to use these little star stickers. So that should be fun. I'm going to just remove the 2 sheets that are our base sheets and stick those up there for a second. Grab my trimmer, and we're going to first just cut these 2 lined pieces, the teal green and the red. We are going to cut these. I want my stripes to go horizontal, and my leg pieces are going to be 4 by 1.5. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces off that are 4 inches with my stripes going across. So we're going to go with 4 inches. Then we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut a number of these at 1.5 inches. And because they're stacked, now we're only going to have to cut, a few times less because because they're stacked. So there's 1, and I'm going to cut 5 strips. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut 6 strips. And the reason is because I'm not sure, I haven't really decided yet which of these is going to get more stripes, the red or the teal color. So we're going to cut enough pieces that we can do either one, and that way I don't have to make the decision right now. How's that? You will know, though, when you see the video, you will know whether you need to do 5 or 6. Because there's a couple of different ways that we can do the socks that these are going to go into. Okay, so there are our 6 striped pieces for the legs. And we are going to need, let's see, we're going to need the red piece for, actually, I think I was going to get a different red piece. So pardon me one second because I did not grab the scrap for that. It's not quite the right color red. To heat that, and you go to your scraps and you've used all of the ones that you want, all the ones that would make sense for you to use. You've used. That one just doesn't quite match either of them. I think it's crimson that I need, so that would make sense because I don't use crimson all that often. It's that super dark, rich red. I lean towards cranberry, but crimson is going to be it. Look at that. That almost matches completely. Okay, so we're going to use crimson because that's going to do a better job of matching what we want it to match. Okay, so I need to make just a 1.5 inch square. I'm going to remove these for a second. We'll get back to those in a minute. We'll just set them up there. And I just need a 1.5, I need actually 2 1.5 inch squares. So let's feed this in on the right. So we're going to measure to 1.5 on the right side. There we go. Then we are going to turn this and we're just going to cut 2 squares, each at 1.5. There's 1 and here is 2. Okay, and then those squares we are going to stack. Oh, you know what? I need more than that. I don't know what I was thinking. I need 4. So let's cut 2 more. So, no, that's 2 inches, Kim, not 1.5. There we go, 1.5. All right, so now we've got our 4. I'm going to take each of these and just stack them in stacks of 2 at a time because this crimson cardstock is a heavier gauge, and I just think it'll cut better if I only do 2 at a time. All right, so we're just cutting from the upper left corner to the lower right corner. We put each of those points on the cutting line on the trimmer. Just like that. And then slowly we cut right through to create 4 triangles. Okay, so awesome. Okay, we'll set those up there. We'll get back to those in a minute. Now we're going to use this paper right here. We're going to cut, I'm going to cut, let's see. We're going to cut a 2-inch piece. You need to decide which way is going to be up because we need our pattern for our boots to always remain the same. So I'm going to do 2 inches. I'm going to do my chevrons pointing up, okay? And we're going to do 2 inches, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces, I'm going to cut 4 pieces at 1.5, so 1.5 by 2, all right? I guess chevron is one of those patterns where some of the chevrons point up and some of them point down, so probably doesn't not. I guess the important part is that it's not pointing side to side. Okay, so we need 2 for each boot. Okay, and we're going to just leave these here for just a second because we're going to do some marking and some additional cuts on those. And then I need 2 4-inch pieces, which are, and they need to be 4 by 1.5. So this piece is going to be a little bit big, but that's okay. Let's cut it at 4 inches, and then we'll cut it down to 1.5. Oh, actually, nope, I need the 4 inches going this way, so that piece is not going to work. It's going to have to sit over there. All right, let's go with, I'm going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to cut, let's move these off to the side so that I don't have to worry about knocking them around. We'll get back to those in just a minute. I need a piece. Let's do the biggest piece first. So I'm going to measure this at 1.5 inches over here on the side. And I'm going to do another one at 1.5 inches because we need one for each side, okay? Then we're going to turn both of these, stack them and turn them, and I need them cut at 7.5 inches. All right, so stacking them, and we're going to cut them at 7.5 inches. Okay. I'll set those up there. We'll get back to them in just a minute. Then I need another 2 pieces that are 1.5. So there's one. I'm going to do another one. These 2 we're going to stack. And we're going to cut these at 6 inches. Hold on, hold the phone a moment. I goofed. It's not a goof we can't recover from though. Okay, so these that we cut at 7.5 actually should be cut at 6. So let's just, we're going to do some fancy editing here, and I'm going to say 4 strips that are 1.5 inches high, and they need to be cut at 6 inches. So we need to cut all 4 of those at 6 inches. All right. And then these we're going to set over here. But these are now 4 inches, and we need 2 pieces that are 4 by 1.5. So we've got our 4 by 1.5s. Those are done. And we've got our 4 pieces that are 6 by 1.5. All right. And these are going to need a little modification, just like our 4 2 by 1.5s that are here. All right. So those are all of the pieces that we're going to need. Now let's get our pencils out because we're going to need to do just a few measurements so that we can make this become a boot, okay? So on our first one, we're going to focus on the left-hand side of our layout. And with this first, I'm going to grab my ruler. That's going to make this easier, even though I'm working on a mat. Just so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to pull out the ruler, okay? So we are going to mark this lower right corner 1 inch in. So this is 6 inches long. We're going to mark it at 5 inches. All right, and then we're going to mark it at 3/4 of an inch this way. So I'm going to turn my ruler so that I have a 1 inch mark down here. And I can mark it at 3/4 of an inch right there, okay? And then I'm going to cut across that point. So I'm going to use my trimmer, line up those 2 points on my cutting line, and go ahead and cut. Okay, we're going to come back and erase our pencil marks, but this is the way we're going to do it. And I'm going to keep my pieces separated so that I know which side they belong to, because that's going to be key here. Okay, so now I'm going to line up another piece, another 1.5 by 6 inch piece, and I'm going to move my ruler over. Okay, so we've got our 1 by 6, and this time I'm going to come in an inch from the left hand side and mark it at 1 inch there, and then I'm going to mark it at 3/4 of an inch up from the corner over here. Okay, so 1 inch over, 3/4 of an inch up. And we're going to come in here and line up those marks on our cutting line. And cut. Okay, so that's going to be on the right side. We'll move that all the way over there, just for good measure. Okay, now we're going to take another 1.5 by 6, and this time we're going to measure 2 inches in from the top, which is easy. I can see that on my mat, so that's pretty easy. So there's my 2 inch mark, and we're going to cut from this corner to that mark. Okay, so we're going to line up the 2 inch mark there and the point on our cutting line there. Okay, that one's going to go over here. We'll just stick that over here with the scraps. And this last 1.5 by 6 inch piece, we're going to measure 2 inches from the right hand side and go ahead and put a mark. And we're going to measure from this lower point to that point, so to our mark. So the lower point is now on the cutting line, and our mark is on the cutting line up here. And we'll go ahead and cut, and that piece goes on this side. All right, so those larger pieces are done. Now we need these 2 smaller pieces, and these we are going to measure. I'm going to do, let's do the top piece first. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this piece with my chevrons pointing up. I'm going to cut from this corner, upper left, to lower right. we're going to make a triangle, okay? Upper left to lower right. And I need, let's see, both points on there. So this top half of the triangle, I'm going to put that over with my scraps. The lower half, I'm going to put over here, okay? Now I'm going to take another one of my 1.5 by 2 inch pieces. And this time I'm going to cut from the upper right-hand corner to the lower left-hand corner. Remember, my chevrons are pointing up when I refer to those corners, okay? So if you have a design in your paper that you're using, make sure that it's oriented the right way. Okay, so upper right corner to lower left corner. Again, the top triangle is going to go over here, and the lower one I'm going to bring back over here because we're not done modifying it. Okay? All right. Now, grab your pencil and your ruler. We are going to take our triangle, our newly minted triangle, and we're going to measure a 1/2 inch in on the bottom. So we need a 1/2 inch. I'm going to turn my ruler around. It's not going the right direction. So I'm just going to line this up with any inch measurement. It doesn't really matter because I just need to be able to measure a 1/2 inch. So there's my 1/2 inch. I'm going to put my mark there. All right, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. So I'm just going to bring it down, line it up with my ruler, and measure a 1/2 inch from the 90-degree corner, 1/2 inch in. Okay, so there's that. Now, we're going to take each of those triangles, and from this top angle up here, that top point, we're going to cut from that top point to our mark. Okay, so we're going to line this up on the trimmer with that top point coming down to our mark. If you have a hard time seeing this using your 12-inch trimmer, use your guillotine trimmer, your photo trimmer. If that works better for you, by all means, okay? So here is that piece. Now, this one, again, we're going to start at this top mark right here, and we're going to cut to that point we just put in pencil, a 1/2 inch in from the corner. Okay? So just like that. And this piece goes on this side. All right, then these last two pieces that we need to modify, let me line those up on my mat so that they are straight. Okay, now we're going to do a couple of different measurements on these. And I'm just going to line up my ruler right underneath, just for convenience. We are going to measure 1.25 inches. No, sorry. 1.5 inches from this lower left corner. So 1.5 inches in. And we're going to add a little mark there. And we're going to come in, well, we're going to measure from the top in just a second, but let's just measure this one. So this one, we're going to go in 1.5 inches from the outside edge and mark it. Okay, so like that. Then we're going to take our ruler and flip it over. And we're going to measure a 1/2 inch from, excuse me, sorry. We're going to measure a 1/2 inch from this top corner in, 1/2 inch in. And a 1/2 inch in from this upper outside corner. Okay. Then we're going to cut from here to here, and we want to keep, which piece do we want to keep? We want to keep this piece. So we're going to cut from that 1/2 inch mark to the 1/2 inch mark essentially. So we're 1/2 inch in from this corner, 1/2 inch in from this corner, if that's easier for you to visualize. Okay, so like that. And that one is the one for this side. So we'll put that guy over there. Set that one in our scrap. And we're going to trim this one from mark to mark, just like we marked it. 1/2 inch in from each corner. Okay, and then this one is going to go on this side, and this one's going to go over in our scraps. And I think that does it. I think we are ready to go ahead and assemble this. So I'm going to put my trimmer up there and grab one of my base sheets. And let's see, we'll just set that right over there. I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, just in a couple of spots, to help me keep my base sheet from shifting. And it'll just, add to helping me keep my sanity going here. Okay, so there's my base sheet. And I'm actually going to start with, I was going to say I'm going to start working my way from the top down, but I think I can work it from this side down. It'll be okay. So we're going to go, let's start with our green. I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive because you just never know when you're doing something like this with a lot of pieces. You just never know. Okay, we're going to start it 1 inch from the center. And I want that snug up against the edge of my paper. Just like that. Then we're going to go with red. Make it right up against the other piece. But something I noticed that is easy to do, it's easy to slide your paper underneath the piece next to it. So try hard not to let that happen, because if you do that too much, then your lines get out of whack. You don't want your lines to be out of whack. You want to keep them nice and straight. And if you know that you have a tendency to make your lines go out of whack and not be straight, then you might want to get a ruler and set your ruler out so that you can ensure that you're placing those pieces down as straight as possible. All right, one more. It's the green. We get our socks are 5 stripe socks. We get 5 stripes. All right. Then we're going to take one of our green pieces that's the same size, Make sure your chevrons point up. We're going to place that down right underneath the grain. So now we've got the top of our boot. Now we're going to come in here with this piece. And we're going to add repositionable adhesive. And we're going to line up that shorter edge with the edge of the 4-inch piece that we just placed down. And now we're going to take the longer piece, the 6-inch piece, and I'm thinking that yeah, no, that's fine. We did all the trimming we needed to on this one, so we're good. For some reason, it wasn't quite looking like I was remembering, but this is good. Okay, and this little short piece is the heel of your boot, so it's going to go right up against the piece we just put down, and the lower edge will be the other edge of your paper. Then we're going to take this piece. I'm sorry I can't be a little more informative than that, but this piece, the piece with the large wedge on top and the smaller little one at the bottom, that's going to line up with that piece we just placed. Then we're going to take the odd triangle that we made, and it's going to line up just like that. All right, so there is one side. Now we're going to, I'm wondering what I did with my multi-purpose tool. I just came home from a retreat over the weekend, and so not all of my tools have resurfaced from that experience. So I'll have to pull that out of the container where it's stored when I go to a retreat, so that I have that. All right, so there's the left-hand side of the page. Let's grab the other base page. I'm just going to put just a little bit of adhesive on that. We'll go ahead and line these up. How's that? Even though I just took the adhesive off of this one, I think it'll be okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we need to consider, we're going to do the same thing, but kind of opposite. So we need to consider, do we want this elf's socks to be the exact same order or not the exact same order? Oh, we haven't completed this left-hand side either, by the way. I think I'm going to make a match. So I'm going to start with the green. And I'm going to use my zero centering ruler because I didn't line my pages up very well on my mat. So I'm going to give this 1 inch so that I know where 1 inch is. So I'm taking the 1 inch mark on my ruler right here. 1 inch from this edge is right here. And that is going to help. That's going right up the division between the two papers. So that'll help me be able to place these right where 1 inch is located. All right, so that gives us a good start. All right, so green. And red. And green. And let's see if I can just use some scissors because I need to adjust this red one. It got a little wonky. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we need, just like on the other piece, we need this piece with the large angle on the one side. It's, oh, wait just a minute. We need the top of our shoe. Here's the top of our shoe. That 1.5 by 4 inch piece that we put down before, that goes down first. Then this piece. Then the piece with the heel on the end. All right. Then our large wedge goes on the very end. And lastly, this, not totally lastly, but almost last, is our triangle for the toe. All right, so there are our 2 boots. Now we need to take these triangles that we made. These triangles are for the top of the boot. I may have made too many, but that's okay. Rather have too many than not enough. These are going to go across here. Now you're going to place the one in the middle first. So if you need to, you can get your ruler out and find the center, or you can just do like me and eyeball it, whatever makes you happy. But it's just going to go right there. And we're going to take this one. This guy's going to go all the way out to the edge, and it's going to overlap just a tiny bit. So not too much, but just a tiny bit. I'm going to overlap. So we'll make this one overlap just that same amount. And you'll know how far to go because you'll want these points to be right on the edge of your shoe. All right? Same thing on this side. There's one. There's two. And there's three. All right, so there are our elf boots. Now I need my sticker sheet, which is over here. I'm going to use these little silver bells as the little, or silver stars as the little bauble that's going to go on the tip of his shoe. I was thinking that a little tiny bell would be super cute, or a little brad of some kind, but I just didn't have quite what I wanted. So this will work. But I was, for some reason, I must have dreamed it, but I thought we had a punch of a bell, and I thought, well, that would be perfect for putting right there on the toe of his shoe. Darned if I can't find it. So if we have that, I put it somewhere. I don't know where it is. And I was thinking, well, maybe I hallucinated. Who knows? But, and let me show you what my thoughts were about where to put your photos on this layout, because I can hear you ruminating on that. All right, so I've got a 4x6, and I'm sorry that my little icon is not going the right direction, but you get the gist of it, right? So 4x6 could go there. 2 3x3s can go right up here, just like that. And then if you have a 5.5 by 3.5 photo, you could put this right here over the leg of your elf. Or if you wanted to, you could adjust it, or, put it to the side so you see a little more of his leg, depending on what the photo is of. Or you could even put it at an angle if you wanted. You could scooch this guy over and make that a little more cohesive as a grouping. And I would mirror that on this side. Whatever you do on this side, I would mirror on this side. That's what I would do. You could even put a little photo in here if you wanted, or something like that. And I had thought it would be cute to use lettering and do your title for your page kind of around the toe of the shoe, which, or you could do it across the bottom of his boots, something like that. Because I don't know when I'm going to be using this just yet. I haven't done a title, but that was my thought, was you could either write the title or you could print it on a Cricut or something like that, to go around the toe there, and maybe even more on this side around the toe over here. So just cute. You could even come in here with your black marker and add some stitching to this, which I think would be really cute. So grab your dual tip marker and do some stitching down the sides of his stockings. could do it. You could do this in black. You could do it in white. Depending on the colors of the papers that you've chosen would kind of determine which would be better. But definitely the stitching definitely makes an impact and a difference. We also need to do one more thing when we are done with the stitching. So bear with me here a second. I'm not going to have you watch me do both of these, but I'm just going to do one really quick, and then you will see the final. You'll see the final picture on the thumbnail. So I'm not worried about you missing out on that. All right, let's do some here as well. The white, I think white stitching would show up better. Aha, found my white pen and my multi-purpose tool. Yay! Bonus. So let's do these again. All right. Now the only other thing that I would add to this is an embellishment. All right, so I just pulled out some scraps and my holly punch. So if you don't have the holly punch, but you have something like it, or you can cut something like it from your Cricut, I feel like holly adds just the perfect touch to something like this. And we just need a berry to go with it. So go like this. Use my fussy cutting scissors. All right. Use my that goes about like that. Then we need our adhesive. Put that on there just like so. And guess what I found while I was looking for my holly punch just a minute ago? I found some bells. Well, turns out I was not crazy after all, guys. If you have the Jingle Bell punch, which I think was from last year, which is why I was having such a hard time, those I think would be super cute to put right on his toe, or you could even come in here and fussy cut. like that, and put your bell, or put the bell right on. I don't have any of my foam squares. I'm telling you, I had too much fun at that retreat. And I upset my whole system. Okay. Put our bell right there on the end of his toe. So you can do the bell, you can do holly, you can just put a sticker, use a sticker for his toe. You can do a lot of cute things for your elf shoes. I hope this has been fun for you. I've had a good time, and I hope that it's something you'll use in your albums. As you can see, you can fit quite a few photos on here if you cut them into make them smaller photos. You can actually get probably at least 8, maybe even 10 photos on here if you used his shoes or used this space right in here, or a couple different ideas. So I would love it if you would comment and let me know if you like this, if this is what you are looking for or are enjoying on my channel. I would love to know that, so that I know to continue doing these for you. But here are our quilted elf shoes. Thanks so much for joining me, and I wish you happy holidays and many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.